I can't believe what I just saw. I mean, forgive me. I just have to jump on Facebook Live for just a few minutes. In fact, my TV's still bothering me. I'm going to turn it off because I just can't take any more. Thank you. I'm not going to be with you too long because I'm going to be as blunt as Ezekiel Elliott just was with Aaron Andrews live on Fox when he called Dak a grown-ass man. The truth is, I got to pee really badly, and I just had to jump on Facebook because I'm so happy. I'm going to hold it in. I hold it in every day on Undisputed. Not once in all my years on this show that I've done on FS1 and obviously before that for many years on ESPN, not once have I ever had to, well, I've had to, but not once have I ever actually gone to the bathroom during the 2.5-hour show that once upon a time was just a 2-hour show on the other network, all the way back to Cold Pizza and then First Take. Not once have I ever used the bathroom in that show. I have an iron bladder. I got to knock on wood. Thank you, God. But I just do. In fact, I'm so sleep deprived on Friday nights as I was last night. I often sleep 12 straight hours without having to pee. Pardon my language. But I did last night, 12 straight hours from 10 to 10. And now I'm back, except I'm losing my voice because I have never screamed at my TV more than I just screamed over those 3 and whatever it was hours. Never in my life have I ever been more frustrated rooting for any single team in any sport than I am for this year's Dallas Cowboy team. And never has a team made me happier than this team has on occasion. It often goes through the same game. They will flash greatness, and then, as I just tweeted at halftime, they flash a lot of not so greatness. They can be so good and so wrong, all in the same game, all in the same flow, all in the same quarter, that they just wear me out. I'm worn out. I don't know about you. I'm worn out. So I don't have a lot of voice left, but I just got to do this one time just to get ready for Monday's Undisputed so that if Shannon Sharp is listening right now, he can just retune his ears for Monday. How about them Cowboys? How about that defense? How about that Dak Prescott? Good Lord, have mercy. I have fought and fought and fought on Undisputed for what seems like decades, but has been 3 years, defending Dakota Prescott. I love my man Dak. Dak, I back. And Dak backs me up when it matters the most. He was awful that night, that fateful Monday night, that disaster of a nightmare of a debacle against Tennessee. He wore me out with his blunders in that game. Everybody wore me out. The defense wore me out, letting Marcus Mariota go 11 of 14 on third down that fateful night. And I was so upset, so over-emotional, so overwrought, so absolutely worn out. So dreading having to go face the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp and Eric Dickerson and a cast of dozens on Undisputed, all of whom do not like Dak Prescott, do not believe in Dak Prescott. Most of them consider Dak Prescott a bust. I've heard bust paired with Dak Prescott in the same sentence. Dak Prescott bust. Dak Prescott can't throw. Dak Prescott inaccurate. And that night, I had no defense. The next morning on Undisputed, that fateful Tuesday morning, I had no defense. They had fallen to 3-5. I couldn't defend 3-5. I couldn't defend number 4. I couldn't defend anybody. I wanted Jason Garrett gone, but I've wanted him gone for 3 years. He's Coach Clapp to me. And frankly, he over-celebrated. He prematurely celebrated tonight and let the sideline celebrate after Dak scored. And there's, 2:08 left or whatever it was. And I said, no. Russell Wilson's going to get the football again. And I immediately tweeted, be careful, keep turning up the heat on Russell Wilson because Lockett and Baldwin are dangerous in this situation. And boom, he goes right up the seam. I have no idea. How do you give that up? How can a defense just sit back on its heels, don't rush the passer? You're playing some kind of half prevent defense, and Tyler Lockett just goes right up the seam, untouched, uninhibited, and takes it down to whatever, the 10-yard line, and they cash it right in and cash in a 2-point conversion. And I tweeted well before that, this is coming down to an onside kick. And I just want to thank publicly Michael Dixon out of the University of Texas. He's got a thunderfoot, but he's a drop kick artist, and I don't know why he didn't just tee it up. And I know he's not a place kicker by trade, and they lost Janikowski, but thank you for that drop kick because he just poked it right up in the air. I think he just got way too much of it. I think he wanted to kick the side of the football and send a squirrely dive bomber into the first line of Cowboys and hope it bounced off somebody's shoulder pad. But he just hit a little pooch pop-up right to Cole Beasley, and Cole just gathered it right in, went into the fetal position, and the football game was over. Thank you very much, Michael Dixon, for that. But in the end, all that mattered was that the man I have fought for took over the football game. Dak Prescott won that game. I'm going to say it again. He's one of the greatest playmakers in the game today. I'm going to say it again. This team goes as Dak Prescott goes. He is the alpha. He is the leader. He is the gamer. He is the playmaker on this team. When push comes to shove, I don't want the ball in Zeke's hands. I want it in number 4's hands, throwing it or running it. I have pounded the debate table on Undisputed for 3 years. Let him run it in key moments because he can be an unstoppable force. It's all guts. It's all heart. It's all playmaking. It's the guy you want with the football, and he made 2 runs tonight down in plus territory where they have struggled so mightily. If you just put it in 4's hands and just say run it through there, he will just will himself home. And he did it twice. He almost scored both times, but set up half-yard runs. Then Zeke on the first one went backward, and then he scored on the next play. But my point is, I have been so right about Dak Prescott. I'm sorry, a 4th-round pick out of Mississippi State has changed life in Dallas. Tony Romo would not have won that game tonight. He would have made the one throw that you sat back and said, what are you doing? He would have made the one bobble blunder like he did on the field goal attempt, as you know, that would have won the game at Seattle low those many, what are we going back, 11 years ago? I've lost track. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. I can't tell you how many times I screamed bad words at the TV tonight. I just had a bad feeling. I have so much respect for Russell Wilson. He is so clutch. He's everything Dak is, except Dak is 6'2", 240 pounds. That's what he's got over Russell Wilson. Russell has lost a little bit of his quickness. It looks like he's gained a little weight just to take the beating that he takes in the pocket. And he's not quite as lethal when he takes off like he used to be in those first 2-3 years. Dak can be lethal down near the goal line because he's like a pile-driving fullback who has mobility, who has a little bit, just enough to make you miss. That last run, that was just spectacular. He's cutting through Seahawks. It's just, he's pirouetting. He's somersaulting. It reminded me of the somersault he made at Arizona last year Game 3, remember when he made 3 plays, 2 big throws to my man Bryce Butler. If you're watching right now, God bless you and your new baby. And we miss you, and I still say they could have used you, especially now that it looks like Allen Hurns is going to be gone for the rest of the playoffs. Definitely God bless him. That was a key moment in this game, the Allen Hurns injury, because it felt like Dak's offense was starting to click, starting to impose its will, and it became double jeopardy because Allen Hurns got his ankle caught as he went down, and it looked like really bad things happened to that ankle. I haven't heard an update, but obviously it did not look good. It looked shattered. Hope I'm wrong about that, but it was double jeopardy because it deflated the whole stadium, the packed house, took a little wind out of the sails of the offense, as it just would, because it's horrifying to see that happen to one of your brothers. And all of a sudden, Seattle started to creep back in the game. Dallas had chance after chance after chance in the first half to impose its will. The halftime stats were just staggeringly pro-Dallas. They just screamed big lead. And it was 10-6. It was like, hold on, I got it right here because I think I wrote down the halftime stats. This is why it was going to be such a frustrating loss if they blew this game. Halftime stats tonight. Dallas had 224 yards to 112 for Seattle. Dallas had 12 first downs to 4 for Seattle. Seattle was 1 for 6 on third down in the first half. Seattle had 22 yards rushing. Dallas had 88 thanks to the one big Zeke run. And time of possession was 19-11 and wound up for the game 35-25. That's when Dallas is at its best. It's just controlling the clock and controlling the football and mostly keeping Russell Wilson off the field. But do you realize that Seattle wound up with a grand total of 73 rush yards? And I said I pounded the desk on Undisputed yesterday when I made my prediction. I called it 20-13, and I think it could have been in the ballpark of that, except for that last defensive loss of focus when they let Lockett loose. But the point was, I was in the right ballpark because my key point, as I predicted against Shannon Sharp yesterday on Undisputed. By the way, if you haven't checked us out, it's FS1, 9:30 Eastern Time to noon Eastern Time every weekday without fail. And the point was, Seattle led the NFL in rushing. Led it in rushing. They got a 3-headed monster. They can just keep hammering away at you, and Russell Wilson can add some yards to that. They got 73 total yards, and they all came the hard way. Penny got loose once. Russell got loose for one run. But Carson, who's just beastly out of Oklahoma State, they just were all over him because those two inside linebackers for Dallas, the Wolf Hunter and Jalen Smith, they were just everywhere. Jalen Smith was everywhere. He can spy Russell. He can blitz Russell. He played pass on that first series. He knocked the pass down on the first third down. Those two are just all over the field tonight. They were spectacularly good. They were game-changing. They slowly but surely imposed their will on Russell Wilson's offense. They took away the run. That bodes well going forward. When you can run it and stop it, it just bodes well. And to hold Russell Wilson's offense to 2 of 13 on third down. Again, if you take away the late Lockett bomb, that defensive effort, that overall performance was akin to, it wasn't better than, but it was in the ballpark with the 13-10 number that they did on Drew Brees and company, as you remember, on that fateful Thursday night. That was the statement of the year by this team, but especially by the defense. And then they went into a slump over the last 4 weeks, regular season. I got to tell you, they were pretty awful. They were scary awful. All their stats over the last 4 weeks, if you just took Cume's stats from the last 4 weeks, they were a bottom 5 defense. But in large part because they didn't have to be. They suddenly found themselves with a 2-game lead, and obviously when they went to Indianapolis, they just got run out of the building, 178 yards rushing. They gave up. But in general, for the year, they can stop the run because of those two backers. And they win the line of scrimmage. I hope Malik Collins is okay. I don't know. It sounded like he was hurt, but they have a stout front that can win the line of scrimmage. That's how they beat New Orleans, because they wouldn't let New Orleans run either. So now it's going to come down, obviously, tomorrow. I picked Philadelphia. They're two teams I wouldn't want to mess with right now. Obviously, on one side of the bracket, it's Philly, and the other side, it's Andrew Luck's team. That team's good. I picked Deshaun today just because I love Deshaun. I love Deshaun, but when he didn't have Demarius and Hopkins, he just wasn't right today. I don't know exactly what's wrong with him. He went to the locker room early before halftime, and in the end, Luck has a much better offensive line. That might be the best offensive line in football. He has much better protection. He had a better receiving core. He definitely, in Marlon Mack, has a better running back. And Deshaun just couldn't do enough. And they got blown out today at home. It's 21-0 until they scored late. But it was convincing. So that's a dangerous team. But once Nick Foles, I keep telling Shannon Sharp, again, you can watch this 9:30 to noon Eastern every day on Fox Sports 1. I keep telling the Hall of Famer, Carson Wentz just operates that offense. I'm sorry, Nick Foles operates that offense better than Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is overrated to me. I just don't like the look in his eye. I'll take Dak over him any day, any night, Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night. You call the night, Saturday night. I'll take Dak Prescott. He'll make more plays. He beat Carson Wentz twice this year. I'm sorry, Dak is better, and Nick Foles is better. All Nick Foles did was play two of the greatest, I think the greatest back-to-back big stage playoff games I have ever seen a quarterback play, against Minnesota's number one defense last year, at Philly in the NFC Championship game, and then in the Super Bowl he outplayed Tom Brady, barely, thanks to Bill Belichick's blunders. But that's a whole nother story. But Nick Foles was the Super Bowl MVP, and now he's back in the saddle, and he is rocking, and he is firing. And he's getting the ball to Alshon, who has, in Nick starts here lately, he's caught 18 balls for 301 yards. And he's still hitting Zach Ertz. I think Alshon's 16 for 301, and Ertz is 18 for a lot less yards. But he's still, Carson Wentz just throws it to Ertz way too often. He's like codependent. So I picked Nick Foles. I just think they're hot. They're back to playing at that Super Bowl level. So I'm picking Nick Foles over Mitchell Trubisky. I know the Chicago defense is hellacious good. Take the ball away. I'm just picking Nick Foles. Low scoring game. I don't think the weather's going to be too bad. Sort of reasonable January weather at Soldier Field. And if that happens, then obviously Nick Foles goes to play Drew Brees in New Orleans. And obviously the Dallas Cowboys would come out here where I'm standing right now. I'm in Century City, west side of Los Angeles, about 20 minutes or so from the Coliseum, where next weekend it would be Dallas at Rams. I'd like Dallas's chances in that game. The Rams limped home. Not sure. I think Gurley is literally limping right now. And I think Dallas could win that game. I would give Dallas a shot to go beat New Orleans. Would it be hard? Sure it would. Does New Orleans want big revenge in that? Sure they would. But at least you got the blueprint. At least you'd go in there with some confidence. Would it be a different game in that dome on that Sure it would. But again, either way, I just like my team. I've said this from the start. I like my team. It drives me crazy. It took 2 more years off my life tonight. That could have been a lot easier. The stats say they should have won much more convincingly. They just don't play that way. I don't know. It's just who they are. They don't blow people out. They just make the plays they have to make. Russell Wilson made a couple plays tonight, a couple throws that were they're just all time. They're just too good. But my guys were there. Awuzie was there. The pass, the ones he threw to Lockett and Baldwin, they're just so good. He threw 2 right on the boundary where it's just so sweetly thrown. You just can't stop it. It's a great throw with the blitzer right in your face. It's almost a blind throw, but it's a trust of Lockett and trust of Baldwin. He's been with them a long time. And I just say, I give it up. I take my hat off. That's too good. But Dak just keeps firing. And I say it all the time. When he starts to get in rhythm and he starts to make quick decisions, decisive decisions, and he steps into it and fires it, great things start happening. And the one play on the big crossing route where Dak rolled right and threw back across to Amari Cooper, I know they didn't cash it, but it's just, it shows you how Amari Cooper changed life in Dallas. And it didn't start that night against Tennessee. I know that was his first game, but he'd barely gotten there and hadn't really developed any rapport. But they took off the next game at Philadelphia when Amari Dak took off. And again, they've been a little quieter the last couple of games, but some of the big throws tonight, some of the key throws tonight went to Amari. That one zone buster where he just turned it up in the middle of the zone, looked around like, well, nobody's here, and took it down to like the 15 or 20, and then the big crossing backside route where Pete Carroll wrongly challenged it. I knew that was a catch. He caught it and ran 2 strides with it. No big deal. And obviously Dak couldn't cash that one because of Noah Brown. Noah Brown drives me crazy. One night against my Oklahoma Sooners, it was the first time Baker Mayfield played Ohio State at University of Oklahoma on a Saturday night. Noah Brown had a career game, and I said, that kid can play in the NFL. And I thought, man, Dallas stole him in the 7th round? He can't run, but he's a big kid, long arms, good hands. And tonight he was just awful. He dropped one early that I know it would have been a hard catch, but you just got to make that catch. Then he had the stupid, formation penalty where he didn't get set. And then on the interception, the one mistake that Dak made was not really a mistake. Could he thrown it a little bit farther? It was still a good pass. He threw it with a little touch, and Noah Brown has to fight through and get that ball. And it was KJ Wright all over him. Again, by the letter of the law. Was that passing? Yeah, it was passing. He just got there early. I'm sorry, he just got there early. But Noah Brown has to go up. That's the game, up in the air. Just go up and fight for it. And he didn't fight through KJ Wright enough to come down with it. That's the kind of ball at Ohio State he just ripped out of the air. I don't know. He just doesn't play with the same confidence. And the ball gets tipped up in the air, and KJ Wright keeps fighting for it and pulls it down in the end zone. And I thought, I'm cooked. I don't know. This team just drives me crazy. It makes me unconfident in their ability to score in the red zone. But then, of course, they just fire right back down the field. And this time, Dak just finally said, okay, I'll just take this home myself. I love my quarterback. I love my team. I love my defense. I don't love my head coach. I will admit it. He let them over-celebrate too early, and the defense took its foot off the gas in that last series. But there's something about this team I love. I love my running back. He didn't have a big night except for the one where he bounced it off right tackle, and all of a sudden nobody's home. And then he had another big run down near the goal line. It's just a gift where he bounces it outside, stiff arm, leans back inside. He's just a gifted runner. You have to keep, I think they gave it to him 26 times tonight, and he had the one big run, but he wound up with 137 yards. Obviously, that's the recipe to advance in the playoffs. He runs it. Dak makes the key runs and the key throws. And is the Allen Hurns loss? Sure, it's big, but do they still have enough? Beasley's limping around on his ankle. Can he get it back a little healthier by next weekend? I hope so. Noah Brown's going to have to rise and shine. Tavon Austin gave him bursts. He actually had 2 big kick returns. One obviously was already coming back with the hold, and it was a hold. It was a jersey grab. But Tavon is not near what he was at, say, West Virginia. I love that kid coming out. I thought he was a steal by the Rams. He can't do that anymore, but he still has that nifty shiftiness. So he gives them a weapon as a punt returner and maybe a weapon as a jet sweeper. I know they tried one tonight and it went nowhere, but still, it just makes a defensive coordinator sweat a little bit. It makes you practice against it. So he's going to have to rise and shine. And obviously, it's mostly about the big three, man. It's about Dak, it's about Zeke, it's about Amari. Those three plus that defense, that's enough. Would I like Xavier Suafilo to come back at left guard? I guess Connor Williams hung in there and did okay tonight. He missed one stunt by Frank Clark, but in general, they protected Dak pretty well. Could this team make a run? Sure. And I said this on Undisputed again. If you haven't checked us out, 9:30 to noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1. I told one of our security guards downstairs at FS1 the other day, he's a big Eagles fan, grew up in Philadelphia. And I said, crazy as this sounds, a third Philly-Dallas game at Dallas for the NFC Championship game is not beyond the imagination, not beyond the realm of possibility. I mean, think about it. Nick Foles, could he be hot enough to go knock off the Bears and then Drew Brees? Wouldn't shock me. Are the Cowboys good enough to go beat the Rams? Sure they are. Would it be hard? Yes, it would be very hard for both those things to happen. But, hey, could I see it right now? Is it still pretty wide open? Yeah, still pretty wide open. Would I love my chances against Nick Foles in Philadelphia? I wouldn't love them. I fear Nick Foles, especially in big games, big circumstances. But would I love to see an NFC Championship game at Jerry World, one step from the Super Bowl? You better believe I would. If my quarterback got that far, in my heart of hearts, would I think he'd pull it off? You better believe it. I believe in Dak Prescott. I believe in this football team. I have all year. They've worn me out. I'm losing my voice. I got to pee. But I am so happy. How about them Dallas Cowboys? How about that Shannon Sharp? He's just got to be cringing and just gritting his teeth, biting his lip. Yeah. You better come prepared, Shannon, on Monday. I appreciate my network showing our commercial right at the end of the game. If I do say so myself, it's a great commercial because it says it all about Undisputed, because it's just the God's truth. That's exactly what happens every day as we get ready for Undisputed. I'm a workout psycho. My physical fitness is my badge of honor on Undisputed. The fitter I get, the better I feel on TV, the more staying power I have, the more endurance, the more mental toughness from physical toughness. And right now, I got to knock on wood, I'm in peak condition. Never been in better condition. And that commercial says it all. You better come prepared. It's hard to out-prepare me, Shannon. It's hard to outwork me. And now you're really up against it. Your back is to the wall, or should I say your Dak is to the wall, because Dak Prescott is coming prepared. I'll see you Monday, Shannon, and I'll see all of you Monday, and I'm seeing all your comments, and I appreciate all your comments. How about Anthony Rodriguez? I like that. How about Ronald Dillard? I like that. How about, I could go on and on. Ben Hogg, I like that. Dominique Brown, I like that. Way to go. Thank you. I'm so happy.